Okay, I've been bubbling, so.
If you make a categorical statement that black men
as a whole
oppress, it's just like saying Muslims are terrorists just because an individual commits a crime.
Welcome to Bridge the Gap, a show where we aim to build a bridge of understanding between opposing views. Each episode you'll see our participants sit down to discuss some thought-provoking statements.
The phrase, black men oppress black women, is unfair.
If they disagree with the statement, they'll leave their seat and allow those that agree to explain themselves.
I don't understand how black men as a whole can have that sort of power when we don't have that sort of power in society at all.
Those that disagree then return and express themselves to the rest of the group.
But for me, the statement, black men oppress black women, is an attack on black men. It's an attack on patriarchy and sexism within the diaspora.
Hopefully building a bridge of understanding. Let's see what happens.
Black men oppress black women is unfair.
What do you think about this statement? Let us know in the comments.
So if you don't agree with I agree.
So if you disagree with the statement, please head to the side.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it's an unfair statement to say black men in their entirety oppress women.
I think it'll be quite inaccurate if you make a categorical statement that black men
as a
oppress. It's just like saying Muslims are terrorists just because an individual commits a crime.
My name is Nduka Ndukeze. I'm an electrical and electronical engineering student at the University of Surrey.
But then if you look within the group, you will see individuals who have oppressed black women, right? So you see black men who've done harmful things to black women, like rape, domestic violence, and all those kind of things. So then you want to have a conversation on that because that's not a good thing at the same time, right? But I think it is unfair to say like make a categorical statement. At the same time, I think it's important for us to actually speak on the cases where black men oppress black women, so that we can change those things for the
I don't
betterment of our
think
community.
it's a fair stigma for black men who don't oppress women. Start again, My name is Hannah Yadon Boache. I am a secondary school teacher of philosophy, sociology, and RE.
And I feel like it can't be a blanket statement. There's point in
I don't think blanket statements are helpful, man.
My name is Bissy Atkins. I'm a presenter and I run a social enterprise.
There's sense.
I think we can highlight that there are like oppressive tendencies, oppressive natures of certain individuals, but you can't say it as a collective. And like oppressed to me, like that word is so strong. And like I think when I think of oppressed, I think of like power, and I think of control, and I think of indoctrination. I think of so many different things that are so negative and so powerful, and I don't understand how the whole of how black men as a whole can have that sort of power when we don't have that sort of power in society at all.
Hi, my name's Mazik Lavontel. I'm a presenter and a producer.
And I have to disagree from back in. So you got to go to the those that are joining, please express your views as to why you disagree with the statement.
Okay, I've been bubbling, so.
Hi, I'm Azraya. I'm a school teacher and a writer.
Right, so we all agree that patriarchy exists, right? And the statement didn't say only black men oppress black women. It wasn't, like multiple things can exist at once. Black men can oppress black women. White men can oppress black women. Like it didn't say that's the only demographic within which it happened. And I feel like people hear statements like that and they can get a bit defensive. And so it turns into, you perceive it differently. So, it's not fair to say that, it's black men, it's not fair to say that that's not what the statement said. And also we talk about things and we try to individualize things. And when it comes to systems, you can't really do that because patriarchy has existed for how many centuries? Do you know what I mean? And then when it comes to feminism, you've got feminism, and what feminism looks like a white woman is going to be different to what feminism looks like a black woman, right? And so when you try and individualize these things, it makes it seem like it's on each individual to deal with their issues on a case-by-case basis. And if it is an individual problem, then that means if we unify, that's not going to make any difference because it's not a group problem. It's not a problem that exists within a group and pertains to a particular group. It's about your personal experiences and your personal experiences. But we can't fight this together if there's no commonality between what we refer to as oppressed. But for me, the statement black men oppress black women is an attack on black men. It's an attack on patriarchy and sexism within the diaspora. That's what I think of when I hear it.
So do you feel like all of these types of issues need to be targeted as a collective for it to actually work? You feel like basically us saying that there's individuals, etc., you can't use it as a blanket statement, is us removing the responsibility? Is that what you're trying to say? It has to always be targeted as a collective?
Not every issue. That's not what I mean.
But do you feel like this issue is big enough?
100%
big enough.
because, yeah.
Black men oppressing black women is big enough for it to be a
That's an important
collective
question.
issue.
Is it big enough?
100%.
Because you
That's what I don't
you
think
compared
it
it with the
is.
system of
The racism example was more
because that's
effective.
what you use to legitimize your argument that black men oppress black women. You have a system in which black men oppress black women. That is the dynamic of the relationship between black men and black women.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say it is big enough? Like, what are you using? What are the distinctions between when is it big enough or when is it not big enough to use the collective?
When enough
like what I
people-
said, the initial point about, we wouldn't say Muslims are terrorists, right? Because of an individual case of a terrorist incident where that happens to be Muslim, right? That might be an extreme case, but I'm using that. And you would agree with me that we wouldn't collectivize it in that case.
I think in order for us to collectivize it and realize that the issue here at hand is when it comes to the men and understanding the severity of the situation, when our women are speaking, take accountability and just listen. So from time we've taken accountability on our end and looked at the bigger scale of the actual problem here at hand, the women are saying this is what they're seeing, this is what's going on. The brothers then have to sit down together, right? As she just said, you already know if someone's a good person, so you don't really need to say it. So if you sit down and listen into a conversation and hear what somebody's saying, you know what, sister, I hear you. I hear your cries, I hear your pain. So if I'm saying I hear you and hear your pain now, I then speak to a guy who doesn't view it as me, so he understands where they're coming from.
My name's Patrick Campbell. I'm a chef.
So it now comes a situation where in order for us to come together, the men have to start having the conversations amongst themselves.
The term pro-black causes more confusion than direction within the black community.
Enjoying Bridge the Gap? Let us know by commenting below.
Could you repeat it one more time?
My name is Sully Breaks, and I'm a poet, writer, and also an advocate for creative entrepreneurship.
The term pro-black causes more confusion than direction within the black community.
Yeah, I do.
Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree. You have to disagree to
Then you
stand
need to
up.
stay here, no?
No.
Can you say it again?
The term pro-black causes more confusion than
Yeah.
direction
So you need to
within
stay
the black
here.
community.
This he just wants to move.
So basically,
He just wants to strut.
It's going towards the heat circle. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one still. Yeah, that one there. For me, it feels like I'm all for black people empowering each other as a community going forward. I love it. I love us coming together. But I feel there's been an attack lately on black women and black men who date outside their race. And it's like, because they date outside their race, that then says to me, they can't be pro-black. They can't be people that are putting black people in power and putting black people in the community of ways that they can make influential decisions because they date outside their race. And to me, I feel like that is a massive problem that people are not touching on, because just because I see somebody dating outside their race, I don't look at them any different to who you are because you date a black woman. And I'm not gonna take away your blackness because you found somebody that treats you better and is a different color to you. So for me, it's like, these things are being had, and this pro-black thing that we're all talking about, I feel like the term needs to be spoken about in a much better way.
Can we even define it?
That's the founding problem, because everyone has a different definition for pro-black, and I think pro-black should simply be for black progress.
Pro-black means the progression of black people, yeah? For me, that includes the progression of the black family. And for me, I feel like if you are claiming you're pro-black, for me, like I'll keep saying, you shouldn't be dating outside your race, unfortunately.
Someone's
That
gonna
is
shake the
It's not that it's not that you shouldn't.
I'm just saying.
I understand what
I
you're
feel like
saying.
should
though.
not is the wrong.
Yeah, I can't tell you what you
yeah.
can and can't do. I'm not saying it's bad to date out your race, do what you want to do. I'm just saying if you're going to claim such a powerful statement, a title like that, take it with your whole chest.
Exactly.
And do everything that you need
It's
to
not
do
just
to
that
make
you've gone
sure
to buy a
the
bonnet.
black people are progressive. So I will never say I'm pro-black if I'm not practicing
Do
pro-blackness.
you think if you date outside your race that cannot possibly help the black like that?
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just don't. For me, I wouldn't say then you should say you're pro-black because you're missing that element.
But so wait, are they now anti-black?
Because you can
Of course they're not
still
anti-black,
support your
because they're
community.
pro-black.
You
The
can
people
still.
black people that are with white people that are doing amazing things for the black community. I'm not going to take that away from them. But I just don't think you're pro-black, and that's just
You
my
don't
opinion.
have to define yourself in that way, I guess.
You're just a black person. That's a
But that's your
activist.
subjective. That's your subjective definition. That's all I'm saying, right?
Maybe.
And my
Maybe.
definition is that I wouldn't. Obviously, I love black. Like I'm with a black woman. Do you understand? I'm not set, but at the same time, I still look at the fact that we're now in a situation where we are taking away, like you just said, you know, black people who are with other white people, and they're doing influential things. And for me, it's like when these conversations are being had, as you said, the progression, it should be about the progression of black people. But for me, when these conversations are being had, it then signifies the people like that and pulls them away to make them feel like I'm not doing what I need to do for the black community.
Why are we dying to be pro-black anyway? I don't understand.
No, but I'm saying, obviously for me,
That's
obviously,
another conversation.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, as how we look at these things, I will never look at somebody who has got to that power and, you know, had maintained being a black person and maintained to keep the way they're going, just because they're dating outside of their race and they've not stood by what the narrative, which is to stand with black people, and which they are doing that and making decisions of putting black people in places that they deserve to be, then I'm going to look at him and say, no, because he's not with a black woman, that means now, or she's not with a black man, she's not really pro-black, but she's making the decisions for us to move forward as a people anyway.
I don't think this needs to be so.
Do you know what? I just feel like pro-blackness
It's so
is quite
simple.
an extreme.
Because that's the
I
issue,
see it as a
that
political
comes up to, though,
stance.
isn't it?
Yeah,
I see
that's
pro-blackness
what I
as
was trying to get
political.
to.
We've all met people that are
I think it's going to be good right now.
I'll
actually.
disagree with it.
If I could define as well really quickly, we've all met people that are with black people, right? That are not
Who are not black.
Yeah.
Who are not black.
I don't think it's relationship, I don't think the relationship you're in makes that much of a difference. I believe it's what you stand for.
But I feel like it's not, just because it's not, by saying you need to be with a black person to be pro-black, that doesn't mean every black person that's with another black person is pro-black.
Exactly.
That's not
For
what
sure.
Exactly.
No, for sure.
None of us
For sure.
are.
I just wanted, I
That's
just wanted,
facts.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
put that out there for sure.
I wanna-
But for me personally, like having lived in America, I think my take on what pro-black is way deeper than who you are in a relationship with. Like I've seen some things out there that like hurt my heart, like genuinely. So when somebody says they're pro-black, like it's down to the things they do and less so who they're with. And I think all of us to a certain degree, I think there's been a narrative where it's like, oh, you know, you talk the talk, but do you know? Do you know what I'm trying to say? You with a sister, or you with a brother. And that's tough. I can't imagine what the strain is like for some people where they are pro-black and they're always having to look over their shoulder. I hope that we can all get to a point where we're completely unapologetic about our choices and we do just want the upliftment and betterness of the community as a whole. All right, my name's Abraxas, and at this point, I suppose I'm an influencer and a thought leader on a new application called Clubhouse. That stuff must feel awful. Like I can only imagine what that feels like.
Clubhouse is killing our people.
Enjoying Bridge the Gap? Let us know by commenting below.
Why would you say that?
It's radical, man.
I feel like social media is frying everyone's brain. So this isn't exclusive to Clubhouse. I think social media is frying everyone's brain. And I feel like years from now, there's going to be studies about how people desperately wanted clout. So like what clout actually does to like your actual brain. That's what I think. So it's not exclusive to Clubhouse, but people are definitely
I can't
showing us.
speak so much on Clubhouse because I don't have that much experience with it, but social media in general is polarizing our people, is diluting the quality of the conversations that we have. I don't want to I want to speak more on social media and relate that to Clubhouse. I think there's the good sides and bad sides of Clubhouse. I think it really depends on how you use it, right? Because the thing about Clubhouse is what should determine clout theoretically is the quality of your conversations, right? Because you actually get to speak with people. But just like with Twitter, it's there would always be that. There's always a propensity for groupthink, where it's just impulsive and it's about how it feels and how evocative the tweet is or the topic of conversation is, and that can really distract us from just focusing on more productive things, capitalizing on the opportunity that Clubhouse does present, because there's so much potential for growth, so much potential for networking. I think a number of us met each other off of Clubhouse, right? So at the same time, it depends on how you use it rather than just the app itself. So yeah.
I agree. I feel like it's about how you use it, it's about how you tell your experience. But I feel like in order for you to benefit off of social media, in order for you to use it in a healthy way, a productive way, you as a person already need to have a certain set of principles. You already need to have certain world perspective. You need to be gathered as an individual. So using social media, there are going to be people who are predisposed to the negative effects, to the clout chasing, to the attention seeking, to the, seeing images and being compelled to want to look exactly like that, having a warped view of the world, all of that stuff. And there's people that are more likely to fall into that trap. And I feel like social media is taking people that otherwise would have, managed, had a more healthy lifestyle, made more healthy choices, had a more healthy mindset. It's taken those people and it's kind of pushed them over the edge. Whereas you do get people who go in there with a strong sense of self, who have, high self-esteem, have, a strong set of principles. And so I don't feel like they fall victim as much to social media. So I don't feel like it's like Clubhouse is killing all of our people, but there are definitely people on there. And I'm just don't you have anyone that is telling you what you look like? Do you not have anyone that can say to you, you're moving mad?
Because they're all in the same team, in the same bubble, they don't see it. Yeah. They'll think, what's wrong with her? What's she talking about?
I don't go, that's why I try not to use it as much as more. I don't go into, I really, especially with Clubhouse, I really make sure.
Once you see that echo chamber effect.
Hold that there, and I'd like to disagree with that.
I disagree. I disagree. Clubhouse is probably the most social media app out there by far. So the reason I'm here is because of Clubhouse. At this point in time, I'm the most followed person in the UK on Clubhouse.
How much time do you spend on it? Can I ask?
Yeah, I have a little over 250,000 followers.
You're famous.
I'm joking. No, how much time do you spend on it?
Yeah, on average, how much time?
How much time do I spend on it? So to me, I treat it like a radio show, right? I treat it like a program.
You got that vibe, yeah.
The voice in the room.
I do something in the morning.
Can you just quickly describe the weather for us? I just want to imagine.
So for me, I treat it like, so I have a show that I do every morning called 9 a.m. in London with two.
Oh, that's you!
Yeah.
I need to autograph.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
That was on the news.
Okay.
So yeah, Clubhouse to me is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I've got to meet some interesting people, and had some crazy conversations that I never would have had. Yeah. I've met some amazing people, but there is a dark side to it for sure.
I was a bit skeptical on Clubhouse. When I first started it, I thought I had a lot of people talking about it, so I joined a lot later than everybody else. When I joined it now, again, I met Abraxas, we was in a conversation, then we followed each other and we started talking from there. Then I started to see on the app, there is some beautiful black people out there. There's some amazing black people from different walks of life. And for me, I feel like this app is beautiful for our people to move forward, depending on what you use it for. And I'm very keen on, I always say this to people, if you see a room that is not for you, just leave. Yeah. You have that leave quietly button for a reason. And I get it. And I always go back to this point. Sometimes you have to get into a room and look at the stage
Read it.
and look who is having these conversations. These are not credible people that you probably won't listen to in real life anyway, irrespective of what they're bringing. And Clubhouse itself is what you really want out of it. I've met some amazing people across the globe that I know now in the future I am going to link up with them when we actually come out of lockdown. So for me, I don't feel like it's killing our people because there's actually worse apps out there, like the Twitters and the Instagrams, who have specific pages who push negativity in the community. The app's not even been out 6 months yet, but yet it's killing our people. What about the apps that's been out for how many years that has damaged our community already? So now because people are going into a platform where you can actually have genuine conversation, you can hear from somebody who's speaking in such a way you're like, rah, that is mad. I didn't even know you thought like that. You can listen to people. You're gonna then turn around. This is why I always say, anything that's positive for us, it always gets portrayed in a negative light. Anything that's negative gets put in a positive light. Because we forgot about all the negative platforms, but all of a sudden this new platform that came up, it's now killing our people. No, it's killing you because you don't know how to use it.
No, it's true. I am proud to be black.
How shameful would it have been if someone stood up?
No, of course, I feel like being black is so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I don't think there's anything else that I would want to be. Obviously, I don't know what it's like to be anything else.
Of course,
I don't need to know it.
But
I always
I
say,
feel
like, I'm so
being black
fortunate.
is the best thing. We have so much culture, we have so much diversity, there's so much beauty, there's so much strength, there's so much resilience, there's so much intellect, there's so many things that you can pick from. It's literally like, oh my gosh, like this, what can I not do? If you want me to run, I'll run. If you want me to jump, I'll jump. If you want me to sing, I'll sing. If you want me to speak poetry, anything I can do.
You know how much more I fell in love more being black. I think being a chef.
You're a chef?
Yeah, I'm a chef.
Oh, no wonder why he said Sunday roast. Yeah, okay.
I'm a chef.
I always think what would be like to be a chef or boyfriend.
Being a chef for the last 7 years as a professional chef, like who's worked. I've cooked for likes of Samuel Jackson. I've cooked for so much influential people that I'm grateful. But I learned about our culture. We were talking about the Dutch pot.
It's not
earlier,
bland.
Where the Dutch pot came from. The Dutch pot originated in Africa. Like when our sisters and our brothers was going through slavery, and all our meals came from that. Do you understand? And I fell in love with it more of how our food is so beautiful. And I'm talking African food, I'm talking Caribbean. I'm talking it's so deeper, the meaning, especially for me, I love being
angle.
black.
Yeah.
People don't understand how, like emotionally, one day I sat down and I was like, yo, I was working in a restaurant one day and I helped, I'm not gonna say who, I helped him open up his restaurant. He's a well-known celebrity, he's black. And they took his name and, they bought the restaurant for him and whatnot. And he said, you know what, I'm gonna give them my name. But he had no input and he had a set of people who didn't fit our culture and whatnot, and they were picking the menu and they were ruining our food every day. And for me, it was like, yo, do you understand how deep our food and culture really is? And that's when I stepped out of it and said, you know what, I'm out. I'm sticking with being black and pushing our food because our food needs to be in these places. And people don't realize how beautiful, how much history all of our food comes from. If you actually research our food, it comes from something and it goes so far that people don't even do.
And even, I know you was going to speak, but just even outside of our food, just us as a people,
100%.
there's so
Beautiful,
much
man.
in us. And I feel like so many people, you see those oppressors, they see it. Why do you think they were trying to oppress us? If they didn't see what black is, they see it. And sometimes it hurts me that maybe some of us don't see how great we are and the power we have. And if we did see it, regardless of what oppression is there, even with the oppression that we've exceeded or that we've experienced, where are we? We're still at...
But guys, have you always felt like this though?
I
Have you always felt like
it's the
this?
last when I really looked into my culture and looked into myself. Like I didn't always being a black man. Like cool.
Basically, you never really like the country.
Once you get to a certain age, right?
I think when I started experiencing racism, when I started experiencing racism and really deep in what racism was, playing football growing up and seeing the racism that occurs just by being a black man of your skin color and being black people as a whole. And I'm telling you that now, the UK is racist. And I mean, it's racist. It may not be as mad as America where they're going to shoot and kill, but when you actually go, like, trust me, like,
One
it's
is
so
explicit,
deep.
one is implicit. I think
Yeah,
implicit,
and it's so
it being
deep.
implicit is even
It's
worse
so
sometimes.
deep,
Implicit,
yeah.
explicit.
It's so deep that we haven't even deeped it. It's a deeper meaning than that. And that's when I started looking in, that it actually hurts the fact that because of my skin colour, I'm hated.
You know your question about have you always felt that way?
Yeah, because I was going to say I haven't.
Oh, is it? I feel like it takes this level of consciousness and you get that as you go, do you know what I mean? So it's going to be different. It's going to
like in secondary school, I remember I always wanted to be mixed race. Like I always wanted to be mixed race. My nan is like quite fair skinned, and I remember for whatever reason I used to think she was white. For whatever reason, when I was really young, by the way, and I used to like take pride in that. I used to be like, yeah, my nan's like white, I'm mixed race. Like it was, of course, societal indoctrination, all of these type of things messing with my mind as a young teenager, where I wanted to be light skinned. My best friend was light skinned. All the guys loved her. I wanted to be like her. I'm not even dark skinned, but I'm there still trying to even compete to be even lighter and lighter and lighter. So it's like I feel like it's so important for every black person at one point in their life to like take time out to really research Black history. Like I don't like saying Black history, just history, because it's their history too. Yeah, history and where we come from, and where I did that in university. Me and my friend Shayo, I'm gonna big her up because she's an incredible person. Me and her, like during uni, I took time and I was reading all the books, our leaders, everything. You know, them epiphany moments where you realize, wow, we're actually incredible people. I had that moment and I was preaching on Instagram day in, day out on Snapchat. But you know when you go through that mental, has everyone been through that? I feel like everyone needs to go. Really?
And all of my friends growing up were either Ghanaian or Nigerian majority. I used to hate it. They used to like bust jokes and I'd be like,
but when you were
I want to be in the club, man. Yeah, I really wanted to
embrace
and then
it.
It was the same though. I had to be like, no, that's right, you're Caribbean, isn't it? Like, that's amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I had to get.
It's about who you're surrounded by as well.
I just think it's important we all take that time out to just research and learn about ourselves, our roots, and where we come from, because that will give you so much confidence and like love inside for your race and being black more than you'll ever know. Like before that point, I didn't understand it as much, but
so
now
you have to
I do.
embrace it and I have to stop being a beg. We all learn.
But she's spitting though, because I think it's true. Because I think even though I lived in Ghana for a little while when I was younger, I'm Muslim innit. So I remember and most of my family's Christian as well. But I remember like going into the mosque innit, and you're the only black kid there, and the little boys would like call you a nigger and all that kind of stuff. And because you obviously don't speak Arabic and all these kind of things, so but I was very isolated at that time, and it wasn't until like age came into it, and when I moved to Wood Green as well. So when I was living in Wood Green, it was kind of like I was around my cousins, I was around the man them, and you kind of start to understand the things that you have. And my sister's ex-husband, he was from St. Lucia, and he kind of started coming with all like Dr. Sebi and like Hidden Colours, and you know what I'm saying? And I think that education, everyone needs it. Like it's a proper.
That's what
everyone needs it.
I want to say something though. I've always been proud to be black, but I don't know. There's a recurring moment that keeps on just jumping in my head when remember when I was in secondary school and someone just got out my hair texture, like your hair's as hard as wood, and then it made me think. Like I think that's the first time I thought, like I'm actually black. It's not because you know what it is. It's very easy to just look at color, but there's a lot more to it. And I remember I always wanted my hair to be there's 4C, 4B. I wanted the wave. I needed that. That's what I wanted. And it just made me think, this I don't want this. So I'm not saying I've never not wanted to be black. I've always wanted to be black, but I think that element in particular, when it comes, I know hair is another discussion, by the way, but I must say that when that girl got out my hair, because her hair was flowing like a river, and when she said that to me, it made me think, I don't know if I want this. So I'm not saying I don't want to be black, but I don't know if I want this in particular.
This part of it.
Yeah, and it kind of triggered me a little bit. So I'm not going to sit there. I'm very much proud to be black, but I must say, at that moment in my life when I was younger, when that was said to me, when I was triggered, it did make me think. The whole entirety of being black, there's a lot involved as well. You need tough skin. I definitely got back at her and I won. I got the reaction. But when I got home, it did make me think a little bit like, there's a lot more to being black, and you need to really stand up for yourself.
There's two things I want to bring up really quickly. One, when you're younger, I think it's more difficult. I think to a certain degree, and because I lived in America for a while, I always bring up what it must feel like to be black in America as well. And I don't really know. I only got to experience it as an adult. But I think you're way more race aware when you're born in America. And I felt like you can kind of get away with it to more of a degree here, to a certain degree, and maybe you grew up in a really multicultural borough, and it's black and it's Asian. Maybe you're all on the same council estate and everybody lives and intermingles together. Out there with their red line, like you're black. If you're 4, 5, 6, what connotation did you take away from that, knowing that you're, so what does that mean for me? Okay, I'm black, what does that mean for me? If you're young and your parents don't really talk to you about black history, it's gonna feel like somewhat of a burden to carry. You just want to be the same as everybody else. And if everybody else is white, if everybody else is Filipino, if everybody else is whatever, you almost announce what you are to a certain degree. The other thing I'd love to bring up is I got the opportunity to go to Howard University, which is the predominantly black university in America. And I got to be in DC, which they call Chocolate City. And for the first time ever in my life, I saw black wealth.
You saw what, sorry?
Black wealth.
Oh, okay.
Like wealthy black people. Every house.
Sports, this is not music.
This is not sports. This is not music. It's everybody's house is big. And I was like, wow, what did it feel like to live here? Could I just knock on somebody's door and be like, yo, do you have any plant? I love, do you know what I mean? They'd be like, yeah, of course you do. You know, we went, it was just a completely different experience. The school was predominantly black, and it felt great to be in the majority. And the one thing I'll always remember is this: one of my friends was way down the street trying to get his attention. I'm like, yo. If I'd done that anywhere else, heads would have turned, purses would have been clutched, that sort of stuff. Nobody batted an eyelid.
And today was brilliant. The conversations we had were really, really in depth, and I feel like these are necessary conversations that I needed to have, and I feel like a lot of people will learn from watching this.
I think everyone on the panel was incredible and all had something really important to add to the conversation. One thing I took from the discussion was, I would say, the perspective of the guy that lived in America and his experience as a black man, and the American experience of being black, and how naive a lot of us were to think that being black in America would be somewhat easier than being black in the UK.
I think today was a great conversation to be had. I definitely learned a lot from myself, to take away from myself personally. And I think this is a great platform to have these conversations to move forward.
I have really enjoyed making comment today. I learned that no matter where you go, like, you're always going to be full of a room with people that have like completely different world perspectives to you. And even though you can empathize and understand people, that doesn't mean that you all have to agree.
Make It Common focuses on having diverse thoughts in the black community, and I think that's a really important point to come from, because if we're going to deal with the different complicated issues that we have affecting our community, then we need a wide pool of ideas in order to solve our most essential problems. So I really enjoyed today, and I learned so much from different people from different backgrounds who just look like me, but they had so much to say that was essential to me.
One thing I've taken away from today is just to kind of be a bit more open to such conversations. As I said, usually I'm not, and I'm very solution-based as well. Talking sometimes just ain't really my thing. But I think, creating awareness and having those conversations can somewhat bring about solutions, whether that be long-term or short-term.
Something I learned today, Abraxas did this really clever thing here. In the first question, it was pertaining to black men and black women, and he didn't say anything because it's important that we listen in these conversations. And I thought that's very, very something that I'd like to make more intuitive, you get what I'm saying? Because it's a very practical way to apply everything that we're saying.
What did I learn today? Everybody is so different. We all have completely different perspectives on things that you think would be pretty binary. Everybody here was of a certain ethnicity, but our responses to these questions were so different. And the beauty in what happened today was that even though they were so different, there was so much unity among us in our differences. So I really enjoyed today. The big thing that I learned about today, though, is that, as I said, everybody is so different, and I think that we should all kind of take a second to just listen.